the bottom of it with your host, Joshua Moriarty.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to episode 60 of The Bottom of It. First pod of 2021. I've been a bit slack the last little while. COVID really killed the vibe. Things being locked down and not traveling has just really made it difficult to get guests. I could have done more remotely, but it's just not the same. I can't charm people with my pretty face and my dashing good looks and all my chutzpah and, flair. So today's episode is actually the first podcast I've recorded remotely. I finally gave in because I realized that the chances of Coco and I being in the same place at the same time is potentially a hell of a while away. And a record just came out the last few months, so I figured it was time to do it. I've been saying to her for quite a while that I'd love to chat with her and have her on. And I said as soon as her album is out, we had to make it happen. So here we are. Yes, so the debut, there's a really funny Australian, the arias or whatever, and one of the women says the debut album. She's obviously never seen the word debut written before, and she calls it debut. Anyway, so the debut self-titled Coco Reilly album was released a few months ago in December of 2020, and I think it's bloody excellent. I got a sneak peek listening copy about a year or so ago, and I gave it a solid thrashing. I really, really love it. She recorded the album while living in Nashville a few years back with producer and multi-instrumentalist Jerry Bernhardt. Coco is a fantastic songwriter, so such a natural ability for really tasteful chord movements. His songs always twist and move in these really classic songwriter ways, but there's always something cool happening in the arrangements. I just really dig it. We've worked together a handful of times over the years. She's she sung on my good friend Moriarty and I's record. Her and our good friend Colby did some backing vocals. Coco and I have a duet on my new record, Melancholia, which I'm still getting ready to put out this year. And we've also worked together on the Be Kind holiday benefit shows that we do in LA. Coco's, she's a badass. I love her voice, her whole vibe. It was a pleasure to get a chance to chat for an hour as we hadn't caught up in ages. We talked about her recent move to Iceland and whether that country is actually correctly named, which is something I've wondered about for many years. Probably could have Googled, but never really found out. So us do that. Obviously, there's a bit of COVID-19 natter, the crumbling of American democracy, and a bit of music chat too, of course. All right, so let's get into it. It's a pleasure to be back. Pleasure to have you. Here we go. Episode 60 with Coco Reilly. Enjoy. And then say go with me when we do it. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Wait, you got to say go at the same time as me.
I did.
Did you? I can't tell.
It was the same time on my FaceTime.
Yes, well then perfect. We'll be fine. I haven't done an interview like this before. I don't know how it works.
I don't think, we're just figuring things out as we go here in the pandemic
it's gonna
life.
Be fine.
Yeah.
So wait, what time does it get light?
I think we're at 11:30 now. Maybe
and then
11.
How long is it light for?
Till about 3:30 or 4 o'clock.
For how many months?
So the solstice starts on the 21st of June.
Sure.
And then you lose a little bit of daylight every day until the winter solstice. I can't remember how many minutes. It's like 11 minutes or something. You lose 11 minutes a day. Yeah. So we have I'm still waking up here. It's really hard to get your body on the circadian rhythm of darkness.
How long have you been there now?
It's going to be the name of my next album. Circadian Rhythm of Darkness.
Sounds pretty good, actually.
I've been here since June 18th.
It's a very specific day.
Yeah. I have a great memory, Josh.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think. I have good long term, but not good short term, which makes no sense because eventually everything switches. Like, it's going to be long term, short term at some point. But yeah, I can't remember yesterday. But then I'll be able to remember yesterday really well in 6 months' time. I think, yeah, it has on a few occasions. I have a question.
I'm waking up my voice with tea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful. I have a question and want you to settle this once and for all.
Oh,
Is
no.
Iceland correctly named?
No.
No!
It's not?
I never knew. No one's ever given me the answer before.
Really? I think you could just Google it.
No, I never wanted to. I think the question came into my head when I was about 7.
Okay.
And I never thought to, in the last 30 years, Google it. But I wanted first-hand information.
I respect that. I respect that you wanted someone on the ground giving you the accurate answer.
Yeah. Okay, so no.
No, I mean, it depends on the time of year, but really Greenland is all ice, and Iceland can be pretty wonderfully green in the summers.
God, that was what my brother used to say. And he would put on like a Euro accent. He's like, yeah, you know, Iceland is actually green and Greenland is ice. And when he was about 10 years old, and I thought it was pretty cool. But I always thought that he was just taking the piss. But he was actually right.
No, he was giving you the real answer the whole time.
And they're neighbors, are they? Iceland and Greenland.
They are, yeah. Yeah, sometimes they get an occasional polar bear that floats over from Greenland. So legend has it.
What do they call Iceland in Iceland?
Iceland?
Eastland.
I think so. It's like I-S, like island. Looks like island. The word island.
And they're speaking Icelandic?
They are, yeah.
Wow. And are you?
I would.
Is your next record going to be in Icelandic?
No. Or sorry, I should say nay. Nay, if you want me speaking Icelandic. No, I know enough to get around in a taxi, go grocery shopping, and...
So they don't have Uber there?
What's that?
They don't have Uber there? Still just taxis?
That's actually correct.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, no Uber.
Learning so much.
What other facts do you need to know about Iceland that you've been dying to know?
I think that's it. Oh, have you met Bjork yet?
I haven't met her, but I did go to a wine bar, and she just happened to be randomly DJing in this record store that I went to.
So she is there hanging around. There are sightings.
There are sightings. She is around. She's alive and well. I can't speak to how well she is, but I think she seems to be doing well.
Okay, but she is alive as well. That's good.
Yes, I can confirm that.
Do you like Bjork? Were you a big fan?
Yeah, I think she's amazing.
I think she's amazing too, but I don't listen to her music because I find it kind of annoying. Even though I think she's brilliant.
Well,
it's a bit much for me sometimes.
Well, that's fair. I think it's a very specific kind of music. So I'm not always in the mood to listen to every kind of music, and Bjork is a very specific mood. So, I've never like sat down and listened to every single one of Bjork's albums in a row because it's a lot of intensity.
You wouldn't do that for anyone though, would you? Who would you put on all of their albums in a row?
I could listen to soul. I could listen to soul music like all day long, and it would be fine. Or Motown. You know what I mean?
I guess it like drifts into the background.
Like 40s music, like the Ink Spots vibe. Or there's music I can listen to all day.
Yeah, what is the mood for Bjork? What mood do you need to be in?
I think you need to be walking around in Iceland, looking at the ocean.
Maybe that's it. So I think if I was there, I would listen to her. It's just those super intense artists that everyone knows are brilliant, but I feel like not many people actually really want to listen to very often.
Who else do you think falls in that category?
very different, but Nick Cave, he's sort of the same.
yeah.
Like everyone's like, oh, I love Nick Cave, he's great.
Yeah.
But you don't really hear anyone ever putting his music on. It doesn't get the party going, does it?
It does. It won't do that. You're right. It's not going to get a party started.
No. Who else is there that's in the same realm? It's just people with sort of voices that can be deemed irritating at times.
So you think Bjork's voice is irritating?
No, maybe that's the wrong word for it.
I think you mean, well, I'm not going to tell you what you mean. I'm not going to put words in your mouth here. But
well, you're the professional now that you live there, so you can.
I've actually become a professional Bjork expert.
Yeah, it takes 6 months.
I have seen her once in real life, so now I know. No, I think it's artists who've honed in on a very specific mood, like you were saying, that maybe you're just, because they can tap, it's not a generalized genre. So they've tapped into something very specific to them, which is amazing, but it might not always be what you're in the mood for.
It's very true. I'd like to make music that people are in the mood for, I guess. That's what I think about more and more.
But
Maybe
how can you control that?
No, I guess it's just, maybe that's why I stopped singing for a while for my last album, because I didn't want to
People weren't in the
anyone.
Mood to hear you sing.
Yeah, I wasn't in the mood to hear my voice. I was sick of myself.
I understand that. After mixing my album, I've never wanted to hear my voice less.
That is funny, huh? I'm always happy to hear your voice. It sounds great.
Well, that's nice. You also have a lovely voice. You're just hard on yourself.
I don't believe anyone when they tell me that, ever.
Well, that's a personal issue, Josh. You have to start
I know
believing
it is.
in yourself.
But do you believe me when I'm telling you, or do you think that I'm lying as well?
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah, okay, that's good for you.
I don't think you're being fake humble.
No, but do you feel good about your own voice most of the time?
Oh, I have a very tumultuous relationship with my voice.
Okay, good. So it's not just me.
No, it's not just you.
Is it every singer?
No, I don't think so. I meet people that I envy that just they love their voice, they're comfortable with it, they have a healthy relationship with it. It always shows up for them. You know, they could just hop on stage any day. They're never worried that their voice is going to sound bad. I don't know what that's like. I think probably the top 90 percentile of my life stress is worrying about my voice.
Yes, I remember you saying this when we were recording, and even talking about going on tour and getting exhausted and stopping working.
Oh, well,
all of the time.
I can't eat anything I like when I'm on tour because it ruins my voice. I can't eat delicious pizza or acidic foods, and
you do love a snack, don't you?
I love a snack. I love any snack. I love all snacks. Yeah, so touring's hard for me just because I can get a bit moody because I have to restrict my diet so strongly. I just envy. You see people and their voice is just always really powerful and just there, and I don't know what that's like. I'm worried my voice is going to crack now just talking to you. Did you just hear my stomach growl? Was that on the microphone?
Oh, there's no food in the belly yet?
No. I just woke up and did this.
Okay, well, thank you very much for tuning in, taking the time.
Anytime.
Across circadian rhythms, I don't even know how far away are you? I don't even know where Iceland is.
Far. It's it's between the US and the UK. So it's like the first thing before you'd get to the UK.
Okay, another Iceland question. What's the population?
Population, I think it's about 300,000, I hear.
Whoa.
So
tiny.
Small. Yeah. It's like a city.
Interesting. Okay, and have people been dropping dead over the last year?
No, hardly. They've hardly had any deaths from COVID. They've managed it really, really well.
What did they do did they just
Also, a very
shut it all down?
abrasive way to ask that. Have people been
Is it?
dropping dead? I mean, fair enough. You can ask it how you want.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you need to be tender around the issue? I feel like it's been spoken about in every single way possible over the last year, that the more fed up with it you get. I don't know anyone who's dropped dead, so I can be a little more glib.
That's clear, Josh. That is clear.
Yeah, I know. I've heard some stories of people I know who people who have known people who some bad things happened to. But otherwise, it's been so far away from my life that I just don't. I'm not a denier by any means, but it just hasn't impacted anyone that I know in any way.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, because that means you're also in a place that's doing quite well.
Yes, we are. That's very true.
Yeah.
It's been okay back here. Lots of locking down though. Lots of months of up to not a lot. Not being allowed to leave the house past a certain curfews. We even had curfews.
You've had curfews.
We had lockdown, curfews, masks everywhere. You're supposed to be wearing masks even when you're outside just walking down the street, which seems absolutely ridiculous to me. But, whatever. I didn't really do it. I sort of did it. If I got too close to someone, then I would put it on so that they didn't feel uncomfortable. But if I'm walking in a park and there's no one else around me and you're by yourself, it's like, come on, really?
I get it. They probably have to, I would imagine, I'm just guessing, they probably have to do a blanket statement, because it's probably harder with a large population to just say, well, only if you're here, and then if you're here, you can do this. And there's too many, they're just like, true. You know what, if you're out, just have your mask on, keep it simple.
Yep, it's very true. It's all worked out.
It's all worked out, yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, things are pretty good. So Iceland is fine.
Yeah, they're doing well. America, not so hot.
Are you sad that you're not there at the moment to watch the whole shithouse go up in flames?
I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, it's been really interesting to watch it from another country, that's for sure. So it was a much
Have you ever done that before?
No.
Right. This is your first time
watched American democracy crumble from another country.
Have you lived outside of America before? I can't remember.
No, I haven't. No.
Right. Okay.
No.
Yeah, it must be very a completely different perspective on it, especially from a place where you are so far away.
It is. Well, I was staying in Santa Monica before I left, and that's when all the riots were starting, and it's a much different panicked mentality when you're on American soil than when you leave. You feel it in the air when you're living there. It's really tense.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Definitely everyone our sort of gang from LA, everyone's left, haven't they? You've gone.
Yeah.
Mariki bailed.
Colby.
Tony Buchan, producer, he's gone back to Australia.
Oh, he
Colby's
did?
Gone. Yep. Luke Bench went back to New Zealand.
Yeah.
So many of the...
Colb's is in Boston.
The whole gang just...
The whole gang's out. Yeah, the only person left there is my brother and with my nephew and my sister-in-law. They're in Santa Monica, but they're...
in Santa Monica, that's right.
They're leaving. I think they're going back to my hometown, which is Buffalo.
Yeah, okay.
They're trying to move back home because it's just... He said it feels sort of post-apocalyptic because everything's still boarded up from all the riots and everything has just been closing because nobody can afford to stay open. So on top of everything being boarded up or kind of demolished, things are just shutting down. So, yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, I don't have no plan to get back there anytime soon.
I don't either. The only thing is I miss my dogs. I mean, I miss my friends and family as well.
No, you can tell the truth. It's okay. I know you miss your dogs.
I miss them
You
so
always
much.
miss your dogs.
I do. I miss them even when I just leave my house and then go see them again a few hours later.
Can you get them to where you are?
No, they're really old. So they're both 12 and one of them has a bad heart and he's on medicine. He's just a senior citizen. So he wouldn't make a flight. But luckily they're with wonderful people. My friends Christy and Addison, they're watching them and they spoil them and love them. So,
But you gotta, yeah, that's gonna make you sad, isn't it? You love those dogs.
oh, so much.
Is it gonna make them, when they eventually pass, dare I say, excuse me,
That's okay.
a
It's
little bit,
part of
a little bit
circle of life.
Yeah, is it easier because you're not there anymore, or does it make it worse because you feel like you should be?
Definitely the second one.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but I actually, not to get too dark here, but I actually
It's
had
okay.
to deal with a passing while I was over here, and it was very strange. It was my grandfather, and it was I wasn't allowed to fly back because of COVID. It was such a strange thing. So I sort of was forced to learn how to grieve from a distance and do it my own way, or say goodbye, I guess, in my mind. But it's a weird, definitely a weird situation. But I guess it is all just tradition. So you don't have to say goodbye to someone's body, I guess, to say goodbye to them. So
No, but I guess it's sort of about being around everyone to tell a few stories and sort of close it off together, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. But even if I'd flown home, you can't really do that anyway because of, because of COVID. It was like there was restrictions on how many people could be there, and so it's just a bit strange. And everyone was paranoid because it was kind of in the thick of everything. I guess it's still in the thick of everything there, but it was more in the beginning when people were really unsure of what was going on. So, yeah.
And now people are making jokes like, is everyone dropping dead? Thinking it's funny. Bastards.
Oh, yeah. My grandfather actually died, Josh.
It wasn't COVID that got him, though, was it? He just died because he was old?
It wasn't. Amazingly, he did have COVID, though, but he survived it in a nursing home.
Oh,
and he was like 88 years old. Who knows if there was complications that came from it, but he was old, yeah.
I've been trying, I really want to, and I haven't done this yet, but the next time I go in somewhere and they have some sort of rule that, something that's changed. I was at the gelato shop the other day and we said, can we try a couple of the flavors? And they're like, we're not able to do that at the moment. And I really wanted to just say, why not? And when they said, and I'd be like, no, sorry, I don't know. And they're like, COVID. And I'm like, what? What's a COVID? And just see how long you could keep the charade going without pretending that you just don't know excuse me? What do you mean? And just like a Corona, I don't know. No, I wanted gelato. I didn't know what I wanted, a beer or whatever, and just see how long you could play it for. I
think you would, someone would make a phone call and you'd be thrown into a lockdown hotel pretty quick in Australia.
Is there anyone who doesn't know what it is yet? Do you think there's anyone around? Apart from Jared Leto when he came out of his 1 month meditation retreat or whatever. And then he came out and made some post of like, whoa, I've just been deep inside the zone, meditating.
Oh,
and
God.
up in the mountains with no reception. But
what about his spiritual antenna? His spiritual antenna didn't pick up COVID.
Well, I reckon he probably thought that it happened because he went away. And that was I think he has that sort of ego.
Oh,
pretty sure
the world fell into illness without him.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I've heard so many Jared Leto stories. He's definitely like in the music biz. Because of 30 Seconds to Mars, everyone's got some story about him just being a massive cunt.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna not comment on that because I've never met him. So
I haven't either. But I've heard.
You're just spreading the negative gospel.
No.
No, I mean I could, who knows? I'm saying I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah. He's a beautiful narcissist. What are you going to do? It's okay.
It's okay. There's a lot of them in the industry. It's the business we're in. There's a lot of
definitely.
Narcissists in our
that
field.
would, I think. Do you ever think you need to be more of a narcissist and then you would be more famous?
No. I think I don't know. Definitely not. I think narcissism makes me very uncomfortable and unhappy, and I would rather quit music than become a narcissist.
Yeah. Do you think it's worked against you? Not. I find sometimes I feel like it works against me trying not to be a narcissist, that I almost don't get things done as well as they should, or like don't have the. It's not that you don't have the self-confidence. It's like you don't want to push certain things or like chase down leads because you don't want to feel like a psycho.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it definitely affects the quickness in which I get things done sometimes because I question everything I do. You know, I don't have like this blind confidence that I'm like, oh, I'm amazing and this is perfect and I don't need to redo this. So it slows me down in that way. But also, yeah, I mean, it probably affected everything. I didn't put my record out for years. I didn't even know if it was good. I didn't know if I was an artist. I still don't, you know, maybe it's imposter syndrome. Is that what people call it?
Yeah, I was talking to another guy on the podcast about this, and he said he had the same thing. And he said to me, "Do you ever notice that imposters don't have imposter syndrome?"
Wait, break that down for me.
People
actual imposters.
Yeah, they don't have it.
That's because they're narcissists, right? No, there's a healthy balance in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, there definitely is. Yeah, you don't have to be a total psycho.
Yeah, I've definitely spent more time than I would like in my life people pleasing instead of now I'm more in a healthy balance place of just setting, you know, what they call healthy boundaries for myself, Josh.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
Getting those healthy boundaries rolling and believing what I'm doing enough that I don't second guess everything all the time. But I did spend most of my life in that place of having imposter syndrome. And because I'm self-taught, I dropped out of high school. So there was all these elements of, you
don't need to have imposter syndrome, Coco. You're great.
Well, thank you. That's nice. I'm getting better. I don't feel like that much of an imposter anymore.
Good. Your album is excellent.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, I just went for a run and listened to it again before we're chatting.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know it was an album you could run to. That's great.
It's not, but I did.
Did it slow you down? Did you just stop in the middle of the road and start crying?
I was going quite slow. No, there's no real fast-paced songs on there, is there?
No, it's like a musical Xanax. Like if you take it before you run, you're just going to end up laying down and getting hit by a car.
Why are they all slow songs?
I have no idea. I don't pick them. I think I've always wanted to write upbeat songs, but it just doesn't happen. So what are you going to do? I can't force it.
I think sometimes you can jack the tempo up. But maybe you need someone to tell you to do it because you probably won't. If you're in the room with the drummer.
If you ask Jerry, he can tell you he has tried to pump up the tempo. And he has succeeded shockingly on the songs on the album.
So they're all the ones at jack tempos.
Yeah, there are some with jacked tempos. So imagine they were all like slow motion songs before. Like, for example, Oh, Oh, My. That song started just acoustic. And then Dom and Jerry were like, oh, maybe we're going to try this.
Not to be confused with Tom and Jerry.
Not cartoon band, although that would be interesting. Good marketing tool. Yeah, so some of the tempos were bumped up a bit, and I was getting more comfortable towards the end, speeding things up. Which, I mean, yeah, I guess it's still very slow, but
Maybe that's your thing.
yeah, probably. I feel like I have a very specific tempo in which things feel really nice to listen to for me. So I probably stick somewhere in a range of those tempos. But I'm always open to write an upbeat song.
Have you seen the film that Thing You Do?
Yes. Oh God, now that song's gonna be stuck in my head for ages.
No, you just sing one of your ones. That was what happened, wasn't it? They were at the dance floor, and then the like cool dude with the shades, the drummer dude, just kind of played it double time.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's how it starts. So he joins. What are they called? What's the name of the band in that film? Damn it, I don't have my internet, but I should be able to remember it.
Oh, I told you at the beginning of this I had a great memory, and I don't now. Do you want me to look it up?
I was going to say Yeah, go on. I was going to say the Rembrandts, but that's the band that does the Friends theme song.
Oh, right. I'm afraid to touch my computer. I don't want to. I don't want to stop this recording. Anyway,
they're playing, and they get the drummer in, and he joins for the one gig, and they're playing really slowly, and it's like everyone's slow dancing.
Oh, yes.
And then they count it off, and he counts it off, and then they suddenly play it twice, and they're all looking at each other like, what's going on? And then someone's in the audience like, sounded great, kid. Let's sign you to Sony Records. Or like one of those kind of things. And then they're off on their way.
Yeah, that's how it happens every time. You just start playing, and you look at each other like, oh my God, what? Is this a hit? That's how every song that I write is written. Except it's the reverse. It starts really fast, and then we slow it down to halftime.
I think that's the good thing about having a band, is that those sorts of opinions come in, don't they? This isn't all aimed at me telling you that your record's too slow. I didn't even think about it.
I'm starting to feel like there's a bit of an agenda at play.
The whole podcast is just a setup. No, I guess the good thing about bands and the most annoying thing about bands is that someone else has an opinion.
Yeah, I think I'm really lucky to have an amazing band that they only speak up when something doesn't feel right. We're all pretty much in the same groove, so I've never run into an issue with them where I've thought, oh, they have no idea what I'm going for, or that doesn't feel right, or I would never do that to this song. They're very tasteful musicians. My band, those guys are good.
It's a tasty sounding album. There's no one's jacking off.
No. Yeah, they're all great. Good team.
Where did you did it all in Nashville?
No, we did it everywhere.
Everywhere, okay.
Well, I recorded it multiple times, but the press has written so many different numbers. I don't even remember how many times I actually recorded it. I think it's 3, but for some reason in the press it keeps going up to like 6 or 7 times.
What do you mean you recorded it 3 times? So
I started I tried recording the album 3 different times with 3 different people.
Right.
Yeah. And then it was just...
And then Jerry was the final one.
Jerry was the final one, the final countdown. Yeah, so I tried doing an album when I first came to Nashville. It just didn't feel right. The songs weren't right. I didn't really know myself musically yet. And then I tried recording with my friend Joe Basiri in his living room with my friend Ian Ferguson, who did end up playing guitar on the album as well. And he was in my band often, who's also a great musician. You should check out his music.
Okay, will do.
And yeah, then I had known Jerry, and he'd been wanting to be involved. Like while I was recording with Joe, he was on tour with our friend Aaron Ray, and he was just expressing his sadness for not being part of the recording process because he felt like he could do a good job, and he was into the demos that he heard. And yeah, then he came back to Nashville one day, and we were working on some songs, and he asked if he could play guitar on Suited. And I said, yeah, sure. And then that night I just looked at him and said, we just need to do this all over and you need to produce it with me. And so we just scrapped everything and started re-recording again. And that was another year and a half, I think, because he was on tour on and off, and we would just kind of piecemeal it together whenever he was in town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a long process, and it was recorded in multiple studios and in houses. I recorded some vocals in my house by myself, and then it was recorded at my neighbor's house, Jeremy Ferguson, who owns Battle Tapes in Nashville. He helped us finish engineering and mixing the album. Yeah, so it just went on. And then I finished mastering it here in Iceland.
Whoa. How many years from start to finish?
From the intention of making the record, or from when I started
Let's
recording with Jerry?
I want the intention.
The intention? Probably 5.5 to 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you doing before that?
I was working day jobs in New York City.
But doing music as well, or?
No, definitely not.
Hang on,
in
if we,
any substantial way.
If we go back to the early years.
Oh no, we're not going that far, Josh.
Just talk the listeners through a little bit, please, Coco.
Why don't you lead this? What do you want me to say? I'd prefer not to.
You played music as a teenager.
I did. We can omit the name of the band.
Okay, but sort of pop punk, was it?
Yeah, it was in a 3-piece pop punk emo girl band when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
From age.
There's no shame in anything that anyone did as a teenager.
No,
you know
I'm
that.
not ashamed. I just, I don't need it being dug up from the archives of the internet.
Yeah.
It was a great learning experience for me. I was in a band.
You guys,
you
did quite well. Was it sort of doing stuff and chipping along? And
we were doing. I was so young. I mean, we played our first show when I was 13 in a bar in my hometown, and we gigged all around Buffalo, and then we got signed when I was 15, and we did a little bit of touring when I was in high school, and we started to do well, and then I quit because I didn't want to be in the band anymore. But it was a great experience. I mean, for a teenager, we got to do all of the fun things teenagers want to do, like go on tour and play shows and travel.
Was your voice working then?
Mostly, but the beginning of my vocal trauma started in that band.
So there's proper vocal trauma. It's actually it's deep in the body.
It was a real thing. We were actually taping for a TV show, and my voice just started cutting out. And then my manager rushed me to this vocal doctor in New York City. They put the scope down my throat, and it was, he basically just told me that I had horrible acid reflux or something. And it was just sizzling my vocal cords, and I was losing my range. And so then I made it. He gave me some cortisone shot in my arse. And sent me back on my way to get me through the performance. And ever since then, I've had a horrible fear of losing my voice on stage. So I probably need some therapy for that.
Okay, add it to the list of things that we all need therapy for.
I've been in therapy, but there's a long list of stuff to get through. I haven't gotten to vocal issues yet. I'm still at core issues. I haven't gotten to those surface issues.
Fuck, when does the therapy stop? Does it ever stop?
I think it just is a personal preference. I'm a curious person, so I'm just happy to sail around in there and keep exploring, see what's going on in there. But it's not necessarily needed. I think I enjoy having an unbiased opinion from someone who's not a family member or a friend, or I think of it like you go to school because there's professors there who know more than you do, and they can guide you faster than if I was just sitting and reading a book by myself at home, teaching myself math. You know what I mean? So I think of therapy as the same thing. It's an expert who can guide me much quicker than I could if I was just home Googling what's wrong with my brain? What's OCD? How do I deal with this?
Have you been working on a new record while you're there?
I have. Yeah. Well, I actually started working on a new record in Malibu when I was there with Colby.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
And I started writing new songs, I guess, at the beginning of quarantine in probably April.
Sweet.
Yeah, but I never really have the intention of, oh, this is a record. I'm always wondering, will there be another record? I don't know. It took me so long to do the first one. And I do a lot of other things in between making music. So just see how long it takes.
Yeah, it's really up to you, isn't it? No one else is going to...
It is. I don't have a sense of urgency, obviously.
Maybe it was really good that you delayed putting this out for a while. It gives you more time to get the next one done. Whereas if you'd put it out 2 years before, then it was going to be 7 years between this and the next record.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas maybe it'll just be 4 or 5 now.
It could be 4 or 5. I think it'll be a pretty quick turnaround. I'll probably have another record out in a year, I would say. I think it's like ripping off the initial Band-Aid for me, like the anxiety of getting back into the music industry. Because it was really just dreading getting back into the music business again that put me off for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's still there, that fear.
How's it been? Has there been a sense of relief since you've put it out? How sort of been the response to it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's been a huge relief. And the response was so much kinder than I was expecting. Not that I expected everyone to hate it. I didn't really have huge expectations because we were in a pandemic year and it was in the middle of the election that I was releasing everything. So I just gave it a very realistic expectation that maybe it would be hard to get press during that time because of how much was going on in the news and in America. And there's a lot of noise going on. So for it to cut through the noise and actually get some great press was very nice. It felt very nice. And all of the press was really kind. And I didn't have one review where I recoiled and felt embarrassed. So I feel really lucky that it made me feel glad that I took the time to get it how I wanted, because I think I felt like people saw it the way I see it, which was a really nice feeling.
Any particular YouTube comments that stuck out at all? Do you engage with the YouTube comments?
I don't engage with comments in general. I don't think it's good for my mental health.
It's nice to have a little read, though, isn't it?
I don't think so. I don't even know if I have enough YouTube comments to sift through.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably one,
have.
And it's probably my dad saying, "Beautiful job."
I had a few people over the years tell me that I looked like the guy from The Walking Dead, and then I saw a few comments on a Miami Horror thing or two saying the same thing. It's like, yeah, that's not too bad.
That's not bad at all.
No, but I put a photo on that Roast Me Reddit site not that long ago. So I think I feel pretty brave about people attacking me. Or maybe I'm just like some sort of pervert, like slightly masochistic, where I want to hear any sort of... I think I could be roasted, and I think I would be okay.
I would definitely be okay with being roasted.
Yeah, but this is maybe more intimate and personal, isn't it? I think if I put out a solo record and it was just my voice and all of those things, and I read some of the stuff that just completely... I remember talking to Dan Nigro, for those who don't know, listening from As Tall as Lions. He was on the podcast, one of the first episodes. Great producer, great songwriter. And he said with that last As Tall as Lions record, he felt weird about it the whole time they were making it, and just like, I don't know about this. There's a few things that are a little off. And then he said when they put it out, the Pitchfork review sort of just like pinpointed every single one of his insecurities about the record and just said every single thing. And he just said it hurt him. He had to sit down like immediately after reading it and take
painful.
some deep breaths. Yeah, said it was awful. So I think that must be the worst.
I know, but that's such a good example of listening to your intuition with albums, because you always intuitively know, I think. And even though people were giving me a hard time about how long it took, if something just doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. And it takes a lot of coordination to find the right band and the right people who can get in the same flow as get in the same way that you're going.
Of course.
So sometimes it just takes time. I don't like the pressure that's on artists these days to mass produce things for social media, because there's so many channels for content that it's completely unrealistic to expect people to churn out as many singles as they do so that they constantly have content. I think you shouldn't ever create for content. You should create because there's something that you want to create, and then let it do what it does. Put it out into the world, drop it into the machine, and see where it goes. But I feel bad for the kind of pressure that's on artists in social media days, because there's so much pressure to constantly post something interesting on Instagram and have something different for Twitter and Facebook and marketing. And it's too overwhelming for me. It's really insane. And I think damaging to the process of really crafting something beautiful.
Yeah, the more time that's like a sort of a huge part of the job is, I got a friend in Mexico City and she's been putting out records, and she's just so much time doing promo on Instagram and turning up for interviews, and that she's had no time to write any new songs or anything. It's sort of like the people that are on there the most actually end up creating the least music, because that's actually becomes the job of being the artist.
It does. It's really insane. I don't want to get caught in that trap, which, I think there's a balance between trying to capitalize a little bit on momentum of an album so that you can make money to make your next album and to make money doing what you love. But I don't like I'm very aware of the feeling of getting caught up in this sort of fake hype cycle that's going on social media. And yeah, it's a dangerous place also, for artists to live.
Don't you find it annoying when I follow a few artists, but anyone who posts something all of the time, I just get really tired of seeing them.
Yeah, and that's just human nature. It's overexposure. There should be some mystery to people. You shouldn't know what they're doing all of the time, where they're eating. And what?
No,
I don't know. I also don't care. It also, it really does. It has the opposite effect, I think, if people realized that there's a certain amount of, you can cast a really wide net by constantly posting and maybe always getting someone new who's never seen it before, but you're also going to desensitize an audience pretty quickly if you're constantly posting, and it doesn't give them anything to look forward to. I think there's a fine line between staying in touch with people and letting them know what's going on because they support you, and then also having privacy for yourself to not get stuck in that people-pleasing cycle.
Yeah, so your TikTok game's not very good at the moment.
It's not good. I've never even opened TikTok. I don't even know what it looks like.
I got it because someone told me about it about a year ago.
Oh, that's what they all say,
this is what
Josh.
the kids are doing. Yeah, and I had a look at it and I just went, I'm not going to do this. I don't even know what this is. And then I put it away, and that was the end of it. I think I deleted it immediately. But I thought, you know what? You've ignored every other social media phenomena at the time that it's happened. So maybe try and get ahead this time. Like, you're not going to do that, dude.
Yeah, I can barely manage. It feels, when I wake up in the morning, I'm pretty regimented about, I have my morning hours for me, and then I have another job that I work to pay my bills. And I wake up and it feels like a full-time job just thinking of something to post on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, which I still am really bad at, and I post very infrequently. But the days that I have to do it, it feels horrible. It feels horrible to me. I don't like it.
Who's telling you that you have to do it? Have you got a manager, or it's a label or something? Or
I don't have a manager. I have a wonderful PR person who just encourages me to, stay in touch with the audience. Which I like organic connections. I like receiving nice messages from people and chatting to people. But when I feel like I'm just putting things out there because I'm supposed to, it just feels icky.
Yeah, I totally hear you.
Imagine how Trump feels right now. He's just been blocked from every...
He'll just start his own one.
I think he
soon.
tried to do that and he got shut down. I can't. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that breeds. But his phone is just a brick right now, just sitting there. He can't open anything. He's got nothing.
What was the one I saw? Ariel Pink got dropped from Mexican Summer, his label, because they saw him at a Trump rally.
I heard that. I
just thought that
I've
pretty
never been
ridiculous.
You thought it was ridiculous that he was dropped?
Yeah, I just thought, like, I'm not a fan of him or his music, really. I think he's probably quite talented. But it just seemed funny to me that as soon as someone politically doesn't agree with this sort of idea, then you just get dropped. And it seems like someone should be allowed to support Trump and not lose their kind of job over it.
I think there's a difference between having a political opinion and being part of the event of storming the Capitol. I think those are two very, not that he stormed it per se, but I think it's a much.
It said
it's
that
a
he
much.
didn't. He was.
No, he didn't. But I think I can understand because it's connected to a bigger idea that it's not just a normal Republican versus Democrat thing, which I'm independent, so I don't buy into a stupid two-party system anyways. Politics is way more nuanced than a 50-50 deal. Mm-hmm. But I think I understand that there's a bigger there's a bigger threat to democracy connected to Trumpism, I guess, than it would be if it was just any other Republican candidate. Obviously being American is a much different thing than any of us have ever experienced. And his politics feel very dangerous to a lot of people in America. So while I'm not saying what they should have done, I can say that I understand that.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think it would be the same thing as if it was, if he voted for Bill Clinton back in the day instead of, I don't know, they drop him because of that. I think this is a much.
Yeah, Trump's just so polarizing.
Yeah, well, he just stands for so much hatred. So there's a difference between hate speech and political. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just a different level. So I don't know. I'm just rambling, but those are my thoughts on that.
That's fair point. Fair point. It's nice to hear it. See, I'll listen. Always happy to listen to other opinions on it. Unlike my dad, who just doesn't really listen at all.
Your dad doesn't listen.
No, but he's not alone. There's lots of others, I guess. Once you have the idea, you just believe it, and then whenever anyone doesn't agree with you, ignore them.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good. I think that's I think that's America's problem is nobody's willing to talk to each other or listen to each other, which is not great. There's a big system in place in America that doesn't listen to many of the people who live there and help build the country.
It just feels like everything's sort of set up to make everyone hate each other and get angry with each other really quickly as well now.
It does.
There's sort of outrage for everything on every side from everyone.
Yeah, and I'm not on a high horse here because I think when you're in America as well, it's really easy to get roped into that. It's only being outside of the country where I've been able to sort of step outside of that reactive feeling where you're constantly reacting to the news. And it's just the news cycle in America is completely different than it is here. And you see how much it bombards people's minds, like whether it's on social media or on TV or with advertisements, even being in the airport, constant news streams and billboards and ads. And it's so overstimulating for anyone's brain. Like, no wonder we're all turning into psychos.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's not
true.
normal. That is not a normal way to be. We're all just staring at our phones. I sound like such an old person right now.
That's
But it's
but that
just
is
so unnatural. It's so unnatural the way that we're living our life. And I think technology is cool and it's great and it's great to be connected, but there's such a dangerous line that can be crossed where you're completely pulled out of the beautiful organic moments of life and actually talking to people and connecting to people and being in nature and all the things that bring us sanity as a human being species.
Do you think the whole thing's over and the whole world's going to completely implode, or are we going to make it through?
I mean, I'm an eternal optimist. So,
Very good.
but I'm also not naive to the idea that things could always get really bad before they get better, as they always have in the past. I mean, really horrible things have happened on Earth and things come back. So I just hope, the way I've always looked at this situation is things are going to happen that are going to happen. We can't control everything. I think you just try to be one of the people in the world that's helping instead of hurting. And that's really the only solution that keeps me sane, because sometimes you wonder, what are you fighting for? There's too many things to try to fix. It's overwhelming. Where do you even begin? There's people that need help. There's animals, there's the environment. There's so many different subjects to pick from. But I think at the end of the day, you have to just wake up every day and try to do something good. And that's all you can do, because we're not all millionaires or billionaires who can just make a sweeping change or save everybody. So I just hope that this situation doesn't escalate. And I hope it doesn't escalate to a level where people are physically getting hurt or killed or a war starts or anything like that. So those are really my only fears, because it's not an unrealistic fear. It's happened in the past. We've had world wars. We've had egotistical people who ramp up into their narcissism and don't want to let go of power. And I hope that America is strong enough to not let that happen. So just take it one day at a time, play it by ear, and keep trying to do my part and try to encourage other people to do their part. But, everyone's in a different perspective. So,
Do you write songs about these things? Protest songs. Coco Reilly protest album.
Not per se, but I try to keep...
It seeps in though, doesn't it? In some way. I feel like...
Yeah, I mean...
Whatever's...
The truth will always find a way. It was definitely partially about politics and, it's not about a specific event, but it's about observing all the things that we just talked about. Just instead of getting lost in the anxiety of all of the issues, you pick a mantra basically saying you trust that the truth will always come to light, whether it's in a day or 10 years or 100 years or 500 years, which now we see things in America coming to light where we're finally getting statues torn down of horrible people that have been idolized in American history that probably shouldn't have been idolized. And, at the time, nobody knew. And hundreds of years later, their truth is coming to light. So you don't know how long it takes for those things to be uncovered. But I do have faith that the truth is always reverberating around somewhere. And people can be really good at suppressing it or hiding it or being clever about masking it or dressing it up a certain way. But that's what that song is about, is that you can choose to see the world the way that you want. And if you look hard enough, you can find the good bits. And if you want to only look at the bad parts, that's what you'll see. But I think the world's always been a healthy mix of both. And you just have to choose which part you want to contribute to keep the balance.
What's Mirror about? That one's scary.
It's scary.
That song's scary. It's slightly terrifying. I don't know, it just kind of builds. Sounds like the end of the world.
Yeah, Mirror is, well, it means two different things to Aaron and I. So Aaron, my friend Aaron Ray, and I wrote that song together just kind of as a joke, actually, when we were hanging out one night. And she said the lyrics and she was like, "You're like a mirror with a mirror in front of it." But she kind of said it in a funny Southern accent. And we just kind of started, she was playing drums and I was playing guitar. And then I actually started playing some chords that we liked and we were messing around and the melody came out. And then it kind of just swirled in my head for a couple of months. And then I asked her if I could just use it on my album. And every time I tried to write the song, it just ended up in an A-B version. I couldn't find a bridge. And I just thought, oh, well, maybe it just needs to repeat like the lyrics say. Just repeating doesn't quit, just for the fun of it. And thought, okay, we'll just let this song be whatever it is and be like a weird feedback loop that just kind of goes and goes like an infinity mirror.
But a scary feedback loop.
Scary feedback loop.
A slightly terrifying, haunting, apocalyptic one.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. That, to Erin, the song meant it was about her watching people repeating patterns unconsciously. And then for me, it was more of a bigger concept of like that, because the lyrics are really simple. There's not a lot of words in the song, but it says, "I want to learn, I want to see what I'm shown, but either way, it's okay." And the idea is that I constantly am on a quest for knowledge, and I sometimes overwhelm my brain with information because I'm hopping from a philosophical book to a science book, and then I want to take a math class, and then I want to make a record, and then I want to make a documentary, and then I'm always on some wild mission of what I'm going to do next. And the idea is that I'm constantly in this cycle of searching and wanting to learn and wanting to see what's there. But then the resolution at the end of the song is that it's okay. Like, regardless of what you do, the world is going to keep spinning anyway. And whether I understand what's actually happening or not, I can understand philosophy or physics or whatever I'm reading about at the time. I can understand all of it, but that still doesn't change the outcome in the end. So it's more about telling myself to relax. So yeah, it is a spiral of anxiety, which is probably why you get that feeling, because it's sort of like putting yourself into a tizzy of questioning and wondering and analyzing and wanting to understand everything and wanting to fix everything or help everyone. And then just realizing that all you can do is just take bite-sized pieces, like one at a time. You can't just shove all of the knowledge of the universe into your brain and suddenly have a nirvana experience and be totally fine. So yeah, that song should feel sort of anxious because it's kind of it is like a representation of that feeling of starting with a simple question and then ending up in a spiral of how did I end up on YouTube, like watching videos about math and like sacred geometry at 3 a.m. when I should probably just be sleeping and exercising and eating well and doing what I can. So yeah, that's what that song is about for me.
What song could you happily never hear ever again?
Of mine or just any?
No, not yours. That's what everyone says to me when I ask them that question. No, not of yours. You can pick one of yours if you want, but I've got some suggestions.
No, I'm okay with the album. I've cut all the songs off of it that I don't ever want to hear again.
Yeah. What was the song someone said to me the other day? The Mighty Mighty Boss Tones song. What's that one?
Oh God.
Have you ever been close to tragedy? You're gonna never know what you did. And they said that if they never heard that song ever again in their life, that they wouldn't care.
I think there's a lot of songs I feel that way about.
Give me some examples, please.
It's hard to pick. I mean, I don't think I need to hear a Nickelback song or a Creed song or.
So those are your immediate go-tos. Okay.
I know those are pretty cliche.
I quite like that Nickelback song. I still hear it, that This Is How You Remind Me one. Every time it comes on, I'm actually have a good time.
You don't change it.
No, I don't change it. I usually sing along. I don't even...
I know. System of a Down. I hate System of a Down.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
what, let's...
And that's the only song I could think of that I have like an immediate, deep recoiling feeling from. I
Trust
remember
in My Self-Righteous Suicide, that one?
That song, when that song came out and I saw the music video on MTV, and it made me feel so dark, and it was just feels dark and twisty and sad, and I don't like it.
That's the Bohemian Rhapsody of new metal.
Well, whatever it is, I don't like it. I'm not saying, whenever I say I don't like something, it doesn't mean that I don't think those people have musical talent in their own right.
Of course not. I get it.
But I personally, that vibration does not resonate with me as a human being.
Yeah, you're not a 17-year-old boy. Which I was. I was a little older. I was like 19.
I still listen to a lot of really bad music, though. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. That album's like one of my favorite new metal, like rock albums. But I completely understand exactly what you're saying. It's polarizing music.
Yeah, I guess I don't like anything that makes me that has a really strong undercurrent of anger. I don't listen to angry music. It's not my thing.
What about Sweet Child of Mine? If you never heard that one ever again,
that would be okay. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, that would be fine, right?
It doesn't make me cringe. It's just kind of it's a bar song. It's like it's the kind of song that comes on, everyone sings it if they're drunk and at karaoke or something.
Yeah, I know. I've got a real chip on my shoulder about the like drunken, ironic singing along of the same songs that we've heard a million times over. Bothers me. I got to let it go. Look, I have let it go. It's not that bad. But just when everyone goes, living on a prayer, I'm like, yeah, we fucking get it. We get it. We know. And they all look at each other like, oh, living on a prayer, good one, eh? I'm like, yeah, dude. That joke's been going for fucking 30 years.
What do you think is because I get that feeling as well. What is that? Why do we spend time on hating the idea that a song is just played out? Like, why do we get mad at people for that?
Yeah, I know. It's sort of, I don't have it that often anymore. When I worked with some, like teaching some kids for a little while, and they brought in some songs that I thought were awful, like some Pink songs and things, and I had to sort of learn how to play them so they could sing along. And it made me appreciate music that I never would have thought I would. I still didn't like it, but the fact that I saw people getting something out of it made my, that sort of like deep hatred go away. But there's still some in there. I've definitely got a lot. I'm
not judging because I have those moments. I think we all have those. I wonder often if those moments are where some really good comedy is born, because I feel like it's that feeling where you're observing a group of people where you're just like, why is this happening? What are these people thinking? Why is this a thing? And then often those kinds of things turn into sketches or TV shows or...
Yeah, I think getting really angry about stuff is kind of funny, right? So you sort of...
It is.
You do it because you get a laugh out of it for yourself or with whoever's with you. Sort of, I don't know if it's ever like actually that real. But then also, I suppose if music means a lot to you...
What if you got like legitimately angry, like on a clinical level? That would be really actually funnier than just like a casual anger that makes your friends laugh. Like, oh, Josh actually, he turns into the Hulk if he sees people living on a prayer.
What are the other ones? Oh, no, that's the main one. I mean, Toto
That's your
Africa.
main one.
I'm pretty done with Toto Africa as well. the sort of people going rain down in Africa, like it's again, we know.
But is it? I feel like for you, it's the group singing mentality around the song. What if you just listened to it by yourself and no one was singing it or enjoying it in front of you?
I would change it.
You'd change it. But would it make you as angry?
Yeah, I think it's no, you're right. It's something about all of the idiots agreeing and cracking the same joke.
Yeah.
It's the same gag over again. That's all. And it's the same when I watch things like The Big Bang Theory or stuff that's just so played out, where every reference, there's nothing original or sort of interesting about anything that they're doing. And not to say that those songs weren't originally, it's more the people's like wanting to get fed the same shit over and over again.
I understand that. I think we got to would you say we got to the bottom of that one?
Yeah. Oh, zinger. I think that might be the end of it, because we've been going about an hour, haven't we? I'll let you wrap it up.
Oh no, I think you need to. Did you get all the content you need? Did we laugh? We cry? Did we cry yet? We haven't cried. I did talk about my grandfather. We touched on. We laughed. We cried. We philosophized.
We haven't really cried. What would you cry about?
Well, there's a lot to cry about this year. What was the last thing you cried about?
It was in a therapy session.
Oh.
I can't remember. It was something about like just being hard on yourself or stuff, and then like trying, you let go of a bit of that thing, or you realize that you've been berating yourself for some particular thing over and over and over, and then when you kind of become aware of it, you're like, oh yeah, that's been hurting for a while, and then you sort of release it a little bit. So there was that. But otherwise,
that's great.
Yeah, that was a while ago though. I feel like there's way more that needs to be cried about.
Oh, we've all got a vault that we just lock everything away in.
I know. I definitely need to crack it open a bit more, but chipping away.
Yeah, you can't do it all at once. It's like Pandora's box. If you'd be completely debilitated if you open the whole of it at once.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah, I would just be a little skin, just this like flesh blanket filled with nothing. Little moustache, little beard at the top, a little bit of a balding head, just a little bit of a balding head, not that much.
Flesh blanket.
Hey, brilliant. Thanks, Coco. It was very lovely to get to reconnect. We hadn't caught up since the world got the flu, so it was a treat to get to have a digital cup of tea and talk. Now, make sure you give her record a listen. I think it's wonderful. I'm a big fan. See if you think the song Mirror is scary too. It's Coco Reilly is the name of the record, self-titled debut record. I put a few links in the podcast description to some Coco related stuff, and I remembered obviously that the band from That Thing You Do are called they call them the Oneidas, but they're the Wonders, spelled with one O-N-E at the start. Pretty sure it's a good film, but haven't seen it for a while. Who knows? Yes, so if you've made it this far, I figured I'd play Coco and I's duet from my soon-to-be-released new record, a bit of a sneak peek for you. Seems like a nice way to finish off the podcast. Now, thanks again, Potterphiles. On the Adam Buxton podcast, he calls people podcats. I figured if you're listening to the bottom of it, you can be Potterphiles. Do you like that or not? Well, maybe we can. We'll see how we go. I'm going to be back with new episodes. I just needed a break, but I've got a bunch of stuff lined up. Thank you for your patience. The podcast will continue. It's just been a crazy year, as everybody knows. So, all right, here we go. Here's Coco Reilly and I, a song we wrote together called Let Me Down Easy. Enjoy. Back soon. Take care. And I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Love, won't you let me down easy? Love, don't you let my heart break. I'm slowly falling down where the broken hearts lay.
Love, won't you let me down easy? Love, don't you let my heart break. I'm slowly falling to pieces, down where the broken hearts lay. I'm just a fool for your lies. Words only sorrow in disguise. I can tell by the look in your eyes. I'd never make it out alive. So love, won't you let me down easy? Love, don't you let my heart break. I'm slowly falling to pieces, down where the broken hearts lay. Without you, the world will grow cold. Days and the nights move so slow. There's only one thing I know, that I'd rather die than watch you go. So love, won't you let me down easy? Love, don't you let my heart break. I'm slowly falling to pieces, down where the broken hearts lay. Down where the broken hearts lay.